Rich Dad and Poor Dad and the Cash Flow Quadrant. I read them and they made a huge impact on me. What did you do before you wrote the Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
What I did before Rich Dad, Poor Dad is what I wrote about in Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I don't work for money. I'm not an E or an S. All I'm doing is creating assets. And when I got married to Kim back in 1986, you know, she's a rich woman, and I started teaching her to invest. So now, you know, so our marriage is really a business partnership, where she's acquiring assets, I'm acquiring assets, and then in '94, I wrote the book. I started writing Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The book was published in '97, but nothing has changed. Even in this economic crisis, I have not changed my strategy. I want cash coming in every single month. I don't care if it's from oil, from books, from real estate, from my gold mines, from my silver mines, from my copper mines. I just work for assets. And so that's the problem with people who haven't had a financial education, is they think their house is an asset, and their house is a liability. You know, they say, oh, I'll buy a bigger house. And so you have to work harder to buy a bigger house, and if you work harder, you make more money, you pay more in tax. So you never get ahead. Do you know, then you have 2 children, 3 children, and pretty soon you're scrambling around, working harder, but you never get ahead that way. And you buy the nice Volvo or Saab or whatever it is, you know, and you have to work harder. Well, with me, it's exactly the opposite. You know, I have every car I want, but I was looking at the new Ferrari. You know, in America, they're about $350,000, which is quite a bit of money. So all I have to do is say, okay, I want a new Ferrari, then I just have to create an asset that buys my Ferrari. So it might be a new book, it might be another oil well. You know, so let's say I invest $150,000 in an oil well project. Well, the oil well, every one of them pays me about $20,000 a month. So I invest $150,000, I get $20,000 a month. With that, I buy my Ferrari. You know, so I can have anything I like. So the question is, how do you get out of the rat race? First, you got to change your thinking, and then you have to change your education. Then you have to change your lifestyle. You know, because with me, I work very hard, but I don't work hard for money. I work hard for assets.
And when you say change education and lifestyle, what do you mean with that? Do you need a new education?
I mean, you know, we don't have any financial education at school. So most people don't know how to be an entrepreneur. They learn to work for entrepreneurs, like I hire a lot of people. Or they rent my apartments from me, but they don't know how to buy an apartment. You know, I mean 300, 400, 500 units at a time. They don't understand the finance side. They don't understand the management side. They don't understand the legal and all this. So there's a lot to learn. And most people come out of school, even the MBA students and Masters of Business Administration, they don't have the knowledge. Because I hire those guys, and I feel sorry for them. There's gaps in their brains, you know. Like, you know, if I want to be an auto mechanic for Volvo, I'd have to go back to school. You know, if I wanted to be an airline pilot, I'd have to go back to school. But people go back to school to work for money, but they don't learn to have money work for them. So it's a different philosophy I come in. So a different education. Very different education.
So it's not something you learn in the normal business schools either?
No, not that I've ever seen.
So where do you get this education?
Well, most of it, you know, this school is now offering entrepreneurial degrees and all that, but the problem is they're being taught by employees. You know, every time I go and I speak to universities about the real life of an entrepreneur, I mean, the school teacher and the guy teaching the class, we're not the same person. You know, he's working for a salary. I don't really care if I have a salary. I can work for free for the rest of my life. It doesn't make any difference. So I think that's the hardest part. And when I talk to these young kids who want to be entrepreneurs, the first thing they say is, how do you raise money? I said, man, how long have you been in this program? You know, you've been your MBA program for 2 years. You still haven't learned how to raise money. No, I don't raise money. And it's just something you learn. I mean, you have to learn it. It's not taught to you. You have to go learn it. So I went out and learned it.
So how did you learn it?
One step at a time. You know, I was a pilot for the Marine Corps. I went to Vietnam and all that, and I came back. I said I was going to be an entrepreneur, and then the first thing my rich dad said to me is, go learn how to sell. So I went and I worked for the Xerox Corporation, and I was really shy. I had a hard time selling, but I overcame it. And that's why I recommend, you know, network marketing and things like this, because they train you how to accept rejection and take feedback and overcome all of that. Because I'm being rejected all the time. I mean, let's say I'm on a television program and 5 million people are watching, probably only 100 will like what I say, and other 5 million say, full of it, you know.
Yeah.
So if you can't handle rejection, I mean, you're not going to be successful. And I think that's where most young people, they just can't take the rejection, and they can't stand being without money for 5, 10 years, you know, because they want the steady paycheck. They get the steady paycheck, they buy a house, get a car, have kids, and it's it. Life's over. You know, they're in the rat race for the rest of their life.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds scary.
Huh?
Sounds scary.
Yeah, but look, by having a rich dad, one of the reasons I didn't get married till later in life, and you know, we didn't have kids, was by the time I got married to Kim, was I didn't want kids. You know, I said it's not what I want, but I understood the economics of having a child, you know, and all this stuff, and what the costs were. I'm not saying there are material things, but kids are a major decision in your life.
Yeah.
So until I had my business up and running, I really didn't want to add a child or children or a bigger house. And Kim and I lived in very small houses, and we drove inexpensive cars, so we could build our asset base, and so we could get our experiences.
Yeah.
So today we have all the money we want, but it was a sacrifice up front, and it was hard work. I mean, it wasn't easy.
No. Sometimes you want things in the long term, but you want also a lot of things in the short term.
Right.
That could be an inner
Right.
conflict.
Right.
And
You know, like now I have 2 Lamborghinis, you know, one orange, one white. My Bentley, my Porsches, one silver, one black, Range Rover, and my pickup trucks, and I have all the money I want. But it was because I had a plan, a financial plan for my life. And it wasn't to get a job, it was to be an entrepreneur, start businesses and invest in oil wells, a lot of real estate. But I also own the companies, you know, I'm a partner of the oil drilling company, I'm a partner of the real estate company. So I'm an entrepreneur first, and that took a lot of time.
Yeah.
It's not easy.